Back with Dan Chapman, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Thanks for coming, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we like to chat about just mortgage stuff, real estate stuff.
Yep.
You're a mortgage broker. I'm a real estate guy. Let's start off with let's go over super quick, the National Association of Realtors, that huge lawsuit that happened. From your perspective, what are you seeing going on there? Has that changed any of your transactions?
It has not yet. We've been talking about it, thinking about it, and I've talked to a lot of realtors in the different markets that I work in, the Seattle market in particular, quite a bit. Most people think that it's not going to really change much things. Some buyers might be nervous about it, but realtors feel like it's going to be business as usual, where the sellers are still going to be willing to pay a commission to the buyer's agent. It's just going to have to be clear in the contract up front. Hey, I'm representing you as the buyer's agent. The seller, I'm going to talk to the seller about paying a commission. Most sellers, we believe, will pay the commission. In the event that they don't, here's what it cost, 2 or 3%, whatever that number is.
And have you had any transactions where you've had a seller who didn't want to pay the commission and your buyers had to work it out? Have you had any?
Not yet, no.
Have you heard of any?
No, not yet.
So that's the thing. So in the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, they proactively took care of all that, and sellers can offer 0% buyer commission, but nobody's doing that, because who would do that knowing nobody's going to show their home?
Right.
If they got to negotiate a buyer's commission.
Right. If you're selling your home and you're taking a huge pool of potential buyers out of the mix if you're not paying the buyer's agent commission, because guess what? Every buyer has an agent. Yeah. They're not going out there unless they want to negotiate with the listing agent themselves, which how that's going to go. Right. They're going to represent the seller. Yeah. Not the buyer.
Yeah. So, even though everybody says, well, dual agency, and they'll make it happen.
Yeah. So there'll be some of that. But I think it's few and far between.
We have seen virtually there's been no impact. It's like the lawsuit happened, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's had no impact because our contract already states it, who represents who. Right. And now it indicates commission. Right. As of, I think it was January 1st. Mm-hmm. You do have to have a buyer's agency agreement, which I don't think is a bad thing.
No, that's what my brother was saying. He's going to have that filled out. Yeah. Explain that to the buyer. Sit down when you're talking with them.
One more piece of paperwork. Yeah.
One more piece of paperwork. Yeah.
So I agree with you. I don't think it's going to have any impact really on day-to-day operations.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there might be some sellers eventually that say, hey, I want to pay less. I'll pay 1.5% or 2%. Right. So it'll be up to that buyer's agent if they want to show that house. Right.
And they don't need to. And what I've always said is, if they're not paying them a commission, why would you show the house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your buyers really want to see it. I mean, okay.
And then there could be down the line. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac do something to where, especially if you have a buyer that's putting down 3%, they're a first-time home buyer, they can't afford to pay that.
They don't have the money.
They don't have the money.
No.
So will there be a financing option for it? I think so, but it's not there yet.
I think there probably already should have been.
Yeah. Yeah, but then that's going to be limited cases, and it's going to have to appraise and all that stuff.
Because then, I mean, you've got an extra 3% in there, and you're already upside down if you go to sell in that first XYZ and you haven't had any appreciation. Right. You've got an upside down deal right off the bat.
Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah, I would understand if they allowed the commission to be financed if you're putting 20% down.
Right.
Something like that.
With 3%, it would be tough. But yeah, if you're putting 10 plus down, I could see it happening. But less than 10%, I don't know if they're going to do that. Yeah. Because you're right. It's especially when you get up there in sales price. Right. We're not talking about a $200,000.
No. $1 million.
Yeah.
Because so many markets now are $1 million.
Yeah.
Entry level. Thanks so much, and we'll have Dan's contact information in a link below. Reach out to Dan. He's a great mortgage broker. I've been working with Dan for years and years and years. Licensed in multiple states. Yep. And I recommend him to anybody that's considering getting a loan. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
You bet.